Myths and old wives' tale. The gardening world is absolutely full of them. There are so many out there, and in this I want to debunk one or two of those. Hello, I'm Rosie Hardy. This is Rosie Hardy Gardening. If you enjoy our videos, please do subscribe to the channel. Now, there are lots of things that you will be told, and there will be people saying, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. And a lot of the time they are all garden myths, and there are few that really annoy me. And to start off with, the one that really annoys me is double flowers are no good for pollinators. Well, that is a complete lie, because if you look at double flowered dahlias, for instance, they are always humming with bees and hoverflies and all sorts of things, so they are getting the nectar is available. This is a double flowered achillea, and this achillea always has hoverflies on it and moths on it, so again it is good for certain pollinators. Now, this is where this problem comes in, is the fact that double flowers, think of the most common double flower that most people will see around the place, and it is bright yellow, fully double, and yet it is covered in bees all through the spring and through the summer months, and that is the dandelion. So it is completely wrong that double flowers are no good for pollinators. It depends on the pollinator as to whether it can go and visit and can actually get at the pollen or the nectar that is within those plants. Those plants still produce pollen, they still produce nectar. It just is there for other types of insects. So please don't just discount it because there are double flowered plants in nature naturally, and they all produce seed. They aren't self-pollinating, they do need insects to get in there and help them with their pollination. So it isn't the fact that it's the double flowers that is the problem, it is the fact that you haven't got that insect that wants to go to those plants. So that is something to say. So a lot of these lovely big double tagetes, for instance, will have pollinators on them. They might be long-tongued bees, they may not be the honeybee, but they will be solitary bees, or they will be hoverflies. There are lots and lots of beneficial insects out there that go to all of these different plants. So look at it, the soapwort, for instance, double flowered soapwort is naturally there. There are lots of flowers which are double naturally, and they have their own pollinators. So that is one myth, not true. The second one that I have about that really gets me is that if your plants are in full sun, they need more water. No, that is not the case. You do not need to constantly water those plants which are in full sun. You need to have planted them properly in the first place, and when you've planted them and got them to a point where they are established, then they are fine. If we have a really hot summer, then you may find you need to give a little bit of extra water to plants that are in full sun. But the thing about plants that are in full sun, they will need to be established through their first year of being in the garden. Absolutely fine. When you plant them, always dig the hole a bit bigger, put a bucket of water into the hole, allow it to drain, backfill, put your plant in, backfill, water again with a big dose of water. So it's a full-on just tipping water onto it, not washing the hose all over the place and wafting it around. That does no good whatsoever. So it's giving them a good drink and a good soak that they require. And then things which are in a sunnier position need mulching. So after we've had a lovely wet spring, and hopefully we will get one this next spring, a wet spring, the soil is lovely and damp, you put your mulch on, and you put your mulch on to a good depth. It's not a little sprinkling and making it all look tidy. That is no good for anybody, because that's not going to do anything. The worms will get that, it'll disappear. Your mulch has got to be a good depth. It's got to be around about 4 inches, 15 centimeters, something like that. That is your depth. No, sorry, that's the wrong 10 centimeters, sorry, 10 centimeters, 4 inches deep. That is what it should be, because remember, you're putting it on at that depth. It will soon go down naturally under its own weight and it will compress. Then you've got the action of rain, you've got the action of the insects all getting in, and it will all gradually go down and it will be taken into the... But the fact that you have put the mulch onto damp soil means that you keep a damper soil underneath it. Do not mulch onto dry soil. That is the key thing when you are using mulch. Following on from plants that need to be, or plants that you've got in full sun, and this idea that you need constant water, which I've just told you about. On the other hand, drought tolerant plants don't need any water at all. And that's a no-no. Again, whenever you put something in, you've got to get it established. If it's a small plant and it doesn't have a lot of root run, then it's not going to get a lot of water from a dry area. You've got to get it established first. So again, even if plants are drought tolerant, they still require some water. They require their roots to get out. And the reason why most of these things are drought tolerant is because their roots don't just stay here where the plant is. They go out, and they'll go massively sideways. They'll go down, and they will go, so if your plant is, say this is ground level here, and your plant is there, unlike grass, only has about this much root. Drought tolerant plants will have roots that go down and down and down and down, like so, and also across, across, across. So they are going and searching for whatever moisture there is. So if there's a heavy dew, those roots that are at the surface are going to get the moisture from the heavy dew. If there happens to be the roots have gone really down deep and there is a little bit of water there, they will get that little bit of water. So they are getting water. It's just the way that their roots and their root system works is the difference between drought tolerant ones and those which want to be in moisture. The ones that want to be in moisture tend to not have quite so many roots going right the way down because they're sitting in moisture anyway. So be aware, even drought tolerant plants do require water, and they will take probably 6 months to a year to get themselves established, and then once they're established they will get the moisture that is naturally there, and then you don't have to water them. So that's the difference. They require water, but they get it themselves once their root system is out there and growing properly. Recently I set up an email newsletter, and if you want to sign up, then please click in the comments link below or scan the QR code on the screen now. If you sign up, you get an exclusive video. This is a video of me explaining colour combinations and plant combinations in real gardens. Right, here we go. We're at the time of year for the Michaelmas daisies, or what a lot of people would call asters. These are Symphyotrichum. So I have got two different forms here. I have a Nova Anglii type and I have a Nova Belgii type. So the Nova Anglii one, the leaves are hairy, the stems are hairy, and it comes from a basal growth here. Now, this one is the Nova Belgii type. The leaves are smooth, and it is one that will run around a little bit. So this one is really good. Now, I could have got you two pink ones because there are pink ones of Nova Belgii and there are blue ones of Nova Anglii, but I got two different colours just because it makes it easier. So the stems are hairy all the way up on this one, the stems are smooth on this one. And the myth for this is that, oh, the Nova Belgii get mildew all the time. The Nova Anglii don't. Can I tell you, when we grow them on the nursery, if mildew is around and these two plants are under stress, they will both get mildew at the same time. It has nothing to do with whether it is one or whether it is the other. It has to do with the fact that the Nova Belgii types would prefer to be in a semi-shady spot in slightly damper soil, and then they will be happy and you shouldn't get mildew on them. The Nova Anglii types, on the other hand, want to be in a slightly sunnier spot, more open, And again, they will be happy if they are in those conditions. So that is the difference between these ones. The Nova Anglii type, their roots will go down and find moisture. The Nova Belgii types, their roots tend to be on the surface, therefore they're not finding the lower water, which is why they are better in a semi-shady spot rather than a sunny spot like this one over here. So they will both get mildew. They will both get mildew if they are under stress, and the most times when plants are under stress is because they're not in the right place. So that one is Nova Anglii, and this one is Rudelsburg, and this one is Nova Belgii, and this one is Royal Velvet. So there we go. And then my last one to do, so we'll tick that one off, is Agapanthus. I have two myths to debate on this one, but the first one, which is the one I really wanted to do, was the fact that a lot of people say, oh, they go up and they flower and then they have their seed heads on there. Their seed heads look fantastic. And everyone goes, oh no, you should cut them off so that they flower better next year. No, you don't need to worry about that. Leave them up there. Let them have those spectacular seed heads, because some of them are bred to have the most beautiful, dark, almost black seed heads. And then you get an extension of the flowering period, basically, because you have the beautiful flower. Then you get these fabulous seed pods, and it lasting longer and longer. So don't worry about it. You do not need to worry about taking the seed heads off. If you don't like them there, that's a different matter. And then the other one, which is the big one that most people go, they like to be pot bound. That is a complete fallacy. They don't like to be pot bound. They like a bit of food. So that's the one thing. So the same thing with the fact that you're thinking about taking the flower stems off. Feed them in the spring. Give them some lovely multi-purpose food in the spring. They will be happy. Repot them every year if they're in containers. Give them a bit more space or divide them up. They don't need to be pot bound. They want food. So make sure that you've got them in a big enough container that their roots can expand, and their roots will expand pretty rapidly. And then you will have much better plants. Repot them in the spring when they're actively growing. Split them a bit. Give them new compost with some slow release fertilizer in there, and away they go. Or if they're in the ground, lift them, split them, give them a little bit of mulch and a bit of food, give them food in the spring. They will love you for that, and they will flower so much better. So there we go. That is my 5 myths, although there was a little bit that the Agapanthus had too. So there we go. Myths debunked. Thank you very much for watching. Please do subscribe to the channel. If you want to watch another video of mine, YouTube thinks this one is perfect for you.